Welcome to this tutorial on why use Azure SQL Scale-Out, a comprehensive guide to understanding the benefits and best practices of scaling out your database. In Azure SQL, first, let's define what Azure SQL Scale-Out means. Azure SQL Scale-Out refers to the process of distributing your database across multiple servers to improve performance, availability, and scalability. This approach allows you to handle increased traffic, large amounts of data, and high transaction volumes by adding more servers to your database cluster. The key concept behind Azure SQL Scale-Out is to distribute the load across multiple servers, ensuring that no single server becomes a bottleneck. This is achieved through a process called sharding, where data is divided into smaller chunks called shards, and each shard is stored on a separate server. Now, let's look at some practical examples of when to use Azure SQL Scale-Out. Suppose you have an e-commerce application that experiences high traffic during holiday seasons. By scaling out your database, you can ensure that your application remains responsive and can handle the increased traffic. Another example is when you have a large amount of data that needs to be processed in real time, such as in a data analytics application. The benefits of Azure SQL Scale-Out are numerous. It improves performance by distributing the load across multiple servers, ensuring that your database can handle high transaction volumes. It also improves availability by ensuring that your database remains online even if one or more servers fail. Additionally, it simplifies scalability by allowing you to easily add or remove servers as needed. To get started with Azure SQL Scale-Out, you need to consider several best practices. First, you need to design your database with scalability in mind. This means using a scalable database design, such as a microservices architecture, and using techniques such as data replication and caching to improve performance. You also need to monitor your database performance regularly to identify bottlenecks and areas for improvement. In conclusion, Azure SQL Scale-Out is a powerful technique for improving the performance, availability, and scalability of your database in Azure SQL. By distributing your database across multiple servers, you can handle increased traffic, large amounts of data, and high transaction volumes. Remember to design your database with scalability in mind. Monitor your database performance regularly, and use techniques such as sharding and data replication to improve performance.